part of my mind that was capable of something like humor chose that moment to join the rest of me and wake up. As if being chained and transported to God knew where wasn't enough, this was how I had to wake up. It had to be some sort of joke, a cosmic joke aimed directly at me. What fun. I found myself thinking that perhaps it would have been better if the cryo chamber had simply let me continue to sleep. But such was not in its programming. I drew a deep breath and tried not to choke on the smoke. "Fuck me," I said. "Let me out of here." I wasn't talking to anyone in particular, just expressing my most urgent need. If I'd had the use of my hands, I would have hammered away at the pod cover with all of my strength. But I didn't have the use of my hands, not with the chain around my back as it was. And the pod wasn't huge. I had about the same amount of space I would have had if I'd been stuck in a coffin. The best I could do was squirm around inside, trying to change position so that all of my weight wasn't resting on my face. In desperation, I started to yell. "Help!" I called, coughing and hacking into the smoky air as I did. "Is anyone out there? Help!" I kept shouting, calling out over and above the pod's mechanical repeated message, all the while trying to ignore the first hints of fear crawling up my spine. I might actually be stuck in this pod for the rest of my life, and that life might be measured in minutes. "If anyone is out there, fucking help me! Let me out of here!" I didn't need my readouts to tell me that the flames were getting closer. It was hotter in the pod than it had been even just a few seconds before, and I could sense the flames starting to lick all about me. The cryopod's mechanical electronic voice was driving me mad, so I growled at it. "Shut up," I said, and to my immense, immediate surprise, it obeyed. I felt my first sense of real hope. Maybe I could get out of there after all. "Pod open," I bellowed. Hidden servos struggled to work, but then the pod's irritating electronic voice returned. "Unable to open," it said. "Figures," I said. I could have gone crazy. Could have thrown my strength about in the pod as best as I could, but that route only led to bruises and me using up more oxygen than I would like, given how foul the air was around me. Likely I would quickly lose consciousness, and that would be it. Game over. Adam Mayfield, rest in peace. And the secrets I carried would be dead and buried along with me. Instead, I forced myself to relax, to think as clearly as I could in the increasing smoke. To breathe. The cryopod was pretty standard, a wonder of technology, while at the same time pretty simple in construction. Way back when they'd first been invented, they'd been a medical marvel, and as invasive as hell. There were tubes that went everywhere, deep into the airways, up your urethra, and your ass as well, courtesy of a medical butt plug that all by itself served to discourage more than a few potential travelers. Sensors would be attached to 1,000,000 different places so that the cryopod could keep track of everything that mattered, and then some. Now, there was nothing like that. The sensors were still there, but hidden within the cryopod itself, and the whole process was much less invasive. There was an IV line for the chemical cocktail, and that was about it. The cryopod did the rest. At the start of a journey, the passengers would lie down on a foam, form-fitting pad that was almost comfortable, and they would drift off to sleep. For me, that form-fitting foam pad had taken the shape of not just my back, but the chain that held me as well. If I'd been lying flat, my weight would be even now pressing the chain into the foam, making it that much more difficult to move. But I wasn't lying on my back. I was dangling, most of my weight caught on the chain at my ankles, with the rest of it taken up by my face. There were a good couple of inches between my back and the foam, which meant that perhaps I did have a chance after all. "Let me out of here!" I bellowed once more, just in case there was someone nearby who could help. Then I very deliberately twisted my left arm, the one with the IV line in it, so that my hand was as far behind my back as I could reach. This gave me a bit of slack to play with. With the front of the pod allowing me only inches to work with, I brought my right arm up as high as I could.